All right, you're all ready. I'm ready. You know what time it is. It's time for class. All right, so people watching the feed today, the camera is going to follow me around, so this is going to be a little bit different than you're used to. So, of course, now's the moment of truth, right? Okay, good, it is. All right, welcome back, everybody. So announcements this morning. I did message people who have not started the first Word chapter in SimNet. This is the 4th week of class. I think everybody in here has been, okay, you've all been here for class. You probably didn't get my message. I only sent it to the people that didn't complete the first chapter. So if you haven't completed the first chapter, that's you, I'm pointing at you. Please get that done soon. Thursday, for those of you on the courtesy license for SimNet, your SimNet license will expire on Thursday. That is 21 days after we initially did the courtesy license. So you will be prompted on Thursday to purchase the materials if you have not done so already. Okay, I'm telling you all that too, okay? You're all gonna be like, you're gonna be pointing up there a lot, aren't you? Yes, I'm gonna have fun with this. All right, so let's just get into it. So today's chapter. So in the first chapter, chapter 1, I talked about 2 different types of software. I talked about applications that we use, which is application software. And I talked about software the computer uses, which is system software. So next week, for chapter 4, I will go over system software. But today, we're going to go over apps. You've used apps before, so this should be relatively... most of this should be relatively familiar to you. But not too long ago, we needed training. We needed a lot of training on how to use applications. Now that we have phones, right, and tablets, we got mobile applications all over the place that we can use. And we don't need any training. Do you need training to use your phone, really? The apps on our phone, do we really need training for that? Well, unless maybe we're 85 years old and we've never seen a phone before. Right? Or maybe if I'm like 5 years old, well, even 5-year-olds can probably navigate a phone, right? So, yes, let's be honest. Hey, I grew up in the time where there were no cell phones, so I mean, you had to do things another way. But yes, even the rotary phones. I'm talking about the ones that you have to like do this and it goes back. Yeah, if you don't know what that is, Google it. Okay, so anyway, I've talked about word processors, spreadsheets, presentation programs, and database management programs before. I'm going to briefly mention them again in today's chapter. So here we go. Application software is end user software. I said this in the first chapter because we are the end users. Now in chapter 4, I'm going to go over system software. We don't really think about system software because system software always runs in the background. And usually we're only concerned with system software when, well, something goes wrong. That's when we start caring about system software. But most of the time we use our applications and we don't have any issues. Now, of course, I don't know if you've ever heard of advertisements that are out there. There's an app for that. Like if you want to know how to do something and there's an app you can find that does it for you, great. But there are 3 different categories, as I talked about in the first chapter of application software. The first is general purpose. And these are applications that a lot of us, the majority of us, use on a day-to-day basis, or are used in a lot of businesses. Specialized applications are industry-specific. And if I have to tell you what a mobile app is, I think we're in a lot of trouble. But those are your 3 categories of application software. Oh, cool, now I get to go to the screen. Now it's gonna follow me. Don't worry, everybody in your seats. It's focusing on me. I already tested this out. All right, so with applications, yeah, it's not hitting any of you, that's beautiful. It's just focusing on me. All right, so within all the applications that you see, they consist of graphics, so we call it a graphical user interface. That's what we have, that's what we use. There are many features to application software. One of these features are icons. So usually when you click an icon, like in Word, for example, or Excel, or PowerPoint, or Access, you click on that, and it performs a command. That's an icon. I hope you know what a pointer is. On your phones, what's the pointer? You're thinking I was going to hold up something else, right? No, holding up the index finger. So yes, on our phones, this is our pointer. Unless you have a stylus, like me, then you can use the stylus, okay? It's better for people with like larger hands to use styli, right? Styluses. Okay. Anyhow, that's your pointer. Windows. Even on mobile devices, your applications open in Windows. Every single one opens in a window. Menus. Some applications have menus. If you think about your mobile applications, usually there's like 3 lines, you touch a little square, you touch it, and a menu appears. You're gonna see menus with more commands. There are toolbars and buttons. I'm gonna talk about the quick access toolbar today in Word. Yes, I'm going to stick to Word today. I'm not gonna go into Excel, Access, or PowerPoint. Since we've only used Word so far, I'm gonna stick with Word and toolbars today. The toolbars normally contain a series of similar commands, like for example, new, open, save, etc. Those are all in a toolbar. But the great thing about Word now is we can put any command we want in the toolbar. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Buttons. The button you've clicked the most so far in your SimNet projects is OK. You've clicked OK a lot. Oh, good Lord. Is my phone going off? Okay. Shh, I can't use that word anymore. All right. I'll use all right. So that's a button. You've seen buttons before, like cancel. You've clicked the tabs button. Those buttons, those rectangular buttons, like you see at the bottom right of the slide, like default, cancel, etc. Those are buttons. Dialog boxes. So far, we've used something called a launcher. And that launcher opens up a dialog box. I know you all see how I'm maneuvering so it doesn't go to the other side, right? I'm getting better at this. All right. So anyhow, granted, it's my first time using it in a lecture, but whatever. Anyway, oh yeah, if you're just joining us, the camera is tracking me as I go around the room. All right, so dialog boxes look like what you see up here on the screen, where it says font. I'm over here. Okay. All right. Okay. So it gives us a bunch more commands that we do not have in the menus, the toolbars, and it opens up in its own dialog box window, like font. You've seen the font dialog box a lot thus far in this class. But now, so I want to go back to this really quick. Back it up. Okay. And have a little origami back up. So now I'm gonna come over here. So anyway, this is the way Word used to look in the old days. It had menus like File, Edit, View, Insert, etc. It had toolbars. But now we use the ribbon graphical user interface, which we still have. So instead of menus, we now have tabs where we have File, Home, etc. for tabs. We talked about this before. I told you I was going to tell you about this again. Then our ribbon is the area underneath the tabs. That whole area underneath the tabs that goes across. You know about the groups of commands by now. You know about commands by now. You know about control shortcuts by now, but that's behind the scene. Now, there's also something called a contextual tab, which, in our 4th project in this class, you're going to have to put an image into your document. You're going to have to insert an image into your document. So when you click on that image, a contextual tab appears. Yes, so it's a tab that you wouldn't normally see unless you click on an object, like a picture, for example. Then a contextual tab will appear to the right of the tabs that you see here. There will be another tab here. So if I clicked on this picture, another tab would appear here based on the context of what I'm clicking. So that's why they call it contextual tabs. You're going to see a lot of header and footer. So when we were in the header and footer in the document, that contextual tab appears as well in Word. Galleries. I've talked about that word before. So all your styles. We styled text in one of our projects already, or at least one of our projects. I believe it was in both of our projects. But anyhow, the style gallery is there as well. I don't really think I need to go over spell checkers. I don't think I need to go over grammar checkers because we kind of did that already in projects. Alignment. You know there's left, center, and right, but there's also justify, which aligns the text on both margins, and sometimes it stretches words out and makes it look really weird. So I'm just letting you know there's 4 ways to align. Find some font sizes. All right, now I'm going to go to my live demo portion. You know I had to do this. All right, so here we go. So with fonts and font sizes, by default, yes, Calibri, 11, whatever. But there's literally thousands of fonts. Like there's way more fonts than what you see here in this list that you can download and install. But the only problem with that is if you downloaded the font and I don't have it, when you send me the document, it's not going to show up in your font. It's going to show up in whatever my font is that's the closest to the one that you put in your document. So please be aware of that. If you download fonts, the person you're sending the documents to might not see your font. They might see it completely different. Yes, my daughter ran into that recently where she sent something to somebody and they're like, nope, I'm not seeing the font. So please be aware of that. And then 11, how high do you think we can go with this? You think we're stuck at 72? That's 72. You want me to go higher? Nope, darn it. Hey, yo, I'm over here. Over here. Anybody that shows up late, the camera's gonna go after you and not me. All right. Okay, so next up, why don't we go 140 font? You can't go 140? You want to go bigger? You want to go 500? So you're not limited to the fonts that they give you. You can do 500. You want to go 1,000? Just for fun. There's a 1,000-point font. No? You want me to go higher? You dare me to go higher? What about 1,300? Oh, good Lord, it's going to let me go higher. Can I go 1,500? Oh, no. I'm at 1,500 font. Can I go 2,000? Ah! It finally stopped me. So your maximum font size is 1,638 points. I hope that's high enough for you. You're like, I'm never going to use that. Well, I'm just letting you know that you're not stuck at 72. You can go much higher than 72. Okay, just to let you know. All right, now I got to go back to 11. That's driving me crazy. All right, a couple other things. So this toolbar, I wanted to talk about the toolbar we call it the quick access toolbar. In each one of your programs, Word, Excel, Access, and PowerPoint, you're going to have this toolbar up here at the top of the screen. So I just want to show this to you just for your own information, this additional information. So if you ever want to add any icons up here, you simply click this little button right here, this Customize Quick Access Toolbar, and you can click this. And it gives you a whole bunch of buttons that you can add, a whole bunch of commands you can add right here. I always have at home print, preview, and print, because if I ever want to print something, I can just click the button, it'll take me right to that screen, and I can print. Or quick print just prints it right from the jump, right from whenever you click that. So if you ever want to add more commands, you simply go to, well, the thing that says more commands, right? Check this out. So by default, you can add popular commands, but I'm just letting you know this. If you want, you can add any command by changing it to all commands, and it puts it in alphabetical order, numeric first, and then check it out. So if you can literally add any button you want to this quick access toolbar up here at the top of the screen. And again, I said this before, if you create this quick access toolbar in Word, it's not going to carry over to Excel, it's not going to carry over to PowerPoint, it's not going to carry over to Access. You have to set it up in each one, which is the beauty of this. Also, one more thing, everybody. Just letting you know that you are not stuck with these tabs. See these tabs here, Home, Insert, Draw, Design, etc.? You are not stuck with that. You can actually add your own tab. So, I'm going to show you how to do that really quick too. So if you go to Customize Ribbon, ta-da, here it is, you can add a tab down here. Now, of course, I want to rename that tab. And we'll call it Nick's tab. Okay, then you can create your own groups. I'm just going to call it, okay. So I got Nick's tab and Nick's group. Now if I want to add a command, just like we did before, check it out. I can come up here and add any command that I want to that. So let's pick a good one. Where's open? I just want to show you that you can do this. For new. Come on. Oh, new file. There it is. So I'm going to add it. There you go. There's new file. There's open. All right. So I'm going to click OK. And then check it out. And there it is. Next tab. So you can literally, if you wanted to, I'm just telling you this for your own purposes, if you don't like jumping around between all the tabs, technically you could create your own tab with only the commands you're going to use, and you just have all of it right there in one tab. I'm telling you, it's not rocket science. You just have to know how to do it. That's all. So I'm going to go to more commands again. I'm going to click Customize Ribbon again. Now I'm going to delete my tab because, well, I don't need it here anymore. Okay, and it's gone. And that's how easy that is. Okay, I hope you got something out of that. Anyway, this is how we pull up our dialog boxes again. Once again, it's the launchers, the dialog boxes appear. Your ribbon goes all the way across the screen, underneath the tabs. I just wanted to show you the quick access toolbar and what you can do with that. So you can customize these applications yourself if you wish. So if you're going to use this application for like the next 20 years, I would definitely, well, I didn't do it because I know where everything is. But if you don't know where everything is and you want it all in one tab, you can customize that yourself. All right, now to cruise through the rest of the lecture. All right. So as you well know, you can create tables, you can create reports in all of these different Microsoft Office programs. All right, so we're going to start off with general purpose applications. 4 of them that you're going to work with in this class are up here on the board. But can you name me another one? Something that a lot of us use. What do you think a lot of us do every day? Think about your phones.
Like texting.
Text? It's too general. More specific. So
Instant messaging.
Instant messaging, okay, that's a general purpose application. We send things to people sometimes. We send emails.
Yeah.
Very good. There was it was one of the largest viewed websites on that slide I had last week. There's an app. We watch a lot of what videos? YouTube videos. That's a general purpose application. Do y'all like call people? Isn't there an app for that? The phone app? That's a general purpose application? Do y'all browse the web? What did I talk about last week? What did we use to browse the web? No, it's a web browser. Oh, I almost drove home mad today. Thank you. There are times where I do. If the class doesn't have a clue what I'm talking about, I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyway, web browsing. Yes, web browsing is another general purpose application. So just think about, for your own information here, just think about applications that a lot of us use, the majority of us use. I'm surprised did one of you say social media? Social media is not hard to learn how to use, you just use it. It's not hard. But yes, like Facebook, Twitter, those types of applications, those are all general purpose. All right, so yes, I'm forced to talk to you about this, so here we go. Here are word processors. Yes, we talked about this in the quiz a couple weeks ago. They create document files. We create document files with it. There are many different types of word processing programs that are out there. We can create all kinds of documents with this. We talked about this in chapter 1. Memos, letters. I'm not going to say that last word after letters. That's a really bad word in this day and age. Newsletters, manuals, and brochures. Yes, people still send those. I don't know why. So in Word, you've already learned how to do quite a few things in Word. You've learned how to use a lot of different commands in Word. You're aware that we can align text. You're aware that we can apply character effects and text effects, like shadows, for example. You know that it automatically word wraps for you, so you don't have to worry about that. I just went over fonts and font sizes. You now know that it goes up to 1,638 points. I know you're never going to need that in your lifetime, but I showed it to you anyway. You know how to use a spell checker, so we don't have to worry about that. The only thing that we have not done on this slide is insert an image. And that's coming up in the fourth word project. Fourth word project is going to have us do a lot of different things to a lot of different parts of that document. But for most students, inserting the image and putting the caption on is the hardest thing that you do in all 4 of the projects for Word. So anyway, in the 4th chapter, yes, you're going to learn how to put captions, a caption on an image. We are going to be doing that, or with an image. We're going to be doing that in the 4th Word project. A couple other things. I'm over here because I would have to go to the other side of the room for this, so that's why I'm over here. You've already applied page numbers. You know how to apply page numbers. Have we done footnotes yet? We haven't done footnotes yet, have we? So that's the 3rd project. So in the 3rd project, which is coming up on Thursday, we're going to be inserting footnotes. And the text for those footnotes is going to be really, really, really tiny. You notice how tiny it is here? So yes, I'm going to be zooming in when we get to this part, these little tiny footnotes down here. We're going to be doing that in the next project. I'm going to be zooming in big time so I can see what I'm doing. Because that's another one where we're going to have to copy from the instructions and paste the sentence into the footnote, which is tricky. It's very tricky to do. But I will show you how we copy and paste those sentences down into that little tiny footnote area at the bottom of the page. Now there is a difference between a footnote and an endnote. So let's say I have a 3-page report and I accidentally click insert endnote instead of on the first page instead of insert footnote. It's going to insert the note on the last page of the document instead of the page that I'm on. So you got to be careful with that. The good news with that though is if you ever make that mistake in real life, you can always right-click the endnote and it'll say convert to footnote and it'll throw it back on the page you meant for it to be on. So yes, and vice versa. So yes, Microsoft does allow you to do that. But we will be looking at more of this in the next 2 projects, what you see here on the screen. All right, let's get into spreadsheets. So spreadsheets, the second of the general purpose applications I'm going to talk about. And I hate to say it, it's my calculator. It's been my calculator for the last several decades. I love it better than a calculator. I love it better than anything else that I've ever used. Spreadsheets are awesome. You type the equal symbol in, you put your formula in that you want to calculate, you push enter, and boom, it calculates it for you. It's wonderful. What's that? We're going to do that over 5 weeks' time in this class. The answer is, thanks for the segue, I appreciate it. So yes, absolutely it can. Absolutely it can. Oh, I'm finally going to get the zoom in capability. All right, everybody over there, I'm going to write up here in like dark so that you can see this. Okay, I'm going to write as dark as I can. Here we go. So in Excel, there are 2 different ways that you can perform calculations. And you will learn how to do this over the 5 weeks' time we're going to spend. Yes, that's 5 projects in Excel. You're going to learn to do all this. We're going to do all kinds of different graphs and stuff too. So yeah, don't you worry. We're going to have plenty of content. That's like 1/3 of this class, if you think about it, 5 weeks. So there are 2 different ways to perform a calculation in Excel. You can either use a formula, or you can use a function. Now please keep in mind, formulas are calculations that we manually perform. So for example, really quick, up on the screen, you're going to see column letters, A, B, C, D, E, F. You're going to see row numbers, 1 through whatever. That's on the left-hand side of the screen. So when I refer to a cell, I always say letter first, number second, or column first, row number second. So let's say I wanted to add together B7, C7, and D7 for espresso there, right? So if I was to put in a formula, I always type an equal symbol. We always type an equal symbol on our keyboard before we perform any calculation. Now I'm going to click on B7, so equals B7 plus, and I type plus, then I click on C7, then I type a plus, and then I click on D7. Now that seems like a lot of things that I have to do to add those 3 cells together. It seems like a lot, right? I'm typing, I'm clicking. But Excel has a function that performs that called sum. So it's equals sum, and then a parenthesis. So a function looks like this. There are pre-built functions inside of Excel, so that you don't have to use the formulas all the time. We're going to be doing a combination of both of these things over the course of those 5 weeks. So sum, then we take our pointer, put it on B7, drag it across to D7. So it's going to be B7 colon D7. And then that's how you calculate that. Now, keep in mind, Excel also has something called auto sum, which we will be using in one of the projects. So essentially, you got like a column full of numbers, right? You want to sum them all together at the bottom. You just click the blank cell below all the numbers, you click auto sum, boom, it sums the whole thing for you. You don't even have to, you don't even have to type anything. You click a button, and it sums it for you. Yes, you can do it across, and you can do it horizontally or vertically. But yes, we're gonna spend 5 weeks on this, yes.
I feel like it's a stupid question, but where would you type that into? Either the formula or the function?
So any one of these blank cells, you'd have a blank cell, and you just type it up here in the formula bar. See how this says equals sum C14 to C21, that's the formula bar. Yes, I'm gonna go very slowly through all this. So today is just like a preview of what you're gonna see. But when I talk about a formula, that's something that we have to manually calculate, like we're clicking and typing. But the functions are pre-built in Excel. Excel has so many functions, I'm telling you this, as a 30-year user of the program, good Lord, oh my God, it's been over 30 years. Anyway, I'm trying not to cry while I do this. So, don't worry, I'll cry on the drive home where nobody sees me. Anyhow, so my wife always says that. She's like, I've never seen you cry, like ever. You've injured yourself and you still didn't cry. I'm like, look, as soon as you leave the room, I'll start crying. And then when you come back in, I'll be all cleaned up. So you don't see, all right, she knows this. If she's watching, I know she sneaks watching some of this stuff. You're so weird today, you know that? I'm weird every day. Okay, so anyhow, that's the difference between a formula and a function. You're never going to use all, so here's the answer to your question, Lee. See the graph? So you can create nice charts and graphs from the data. Yes, I've had to do that for many a manager over the years. They don't want to see the data, they only want to see the graphs, and that's it. So I give them the graphs. Then once you get good at it, your boss starts picking up on that going, how did you do that in 5 minutes? I just gave you the spreadsheet. You know how to do this? Of course, I didn't tell him I was teaching this class like the first few years until he finally picked up on the fact that I was good at this stuff. So, yeah, so sometimes that happens, right? You just don't tell anybody you're good at something and you just, one day people start picking up on it. Anyhow, there you go. Like, moving on. I hope you know what these programs do. If you don't by now, I think we're in a lot of trouble. Presentations, we like to make visually interesting presentations. You notice my transitions, that's what you see on when I do this. These are called transitions. So there's PowerPoint, Google Slides, etc. And you keep seeing open office. Usually for like Linux operating systems, people install open office. So you can save files in the Word format, you can save it in the Excel format, you can save it in all those different formats that people who have Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Access can open those files. But keep in mind that anytime you see open office, that's more for like Linux operating systems. Visually interesting, see, you gotta learn how to do transitions. So anyway, you will be doing transitions in this class. They are nice, I like transitions. I do not like animation though. Animation, like stuff flying around. Like I said this in the first week. I don't want you looking at the stuff flying around behind me. I want you looking at the speaker. So that's why when you're creating a presentation, and you will notice this, I have 0 animations, like 0. The only thing I have are transitions. That's what you see when I go between slides. But there's always some kind of a theme. And you will notice that each and every one of my presentations looks different. As well it should. I shouldn't have the same stuff every single time. I've had to evaluate people that teach this class, and I'm going to tell you my number one comment I make is, use your own slides. Please don't let me see McGraw-Hill on every single slide. That drives me nuts. Like, it drives me nuts. It drives me up the wall. It takes you 5 minutes to reconfigure these slides. I'm serious. You just apply the same theme to all the slides. And if you have to move some stuff around, like drag stuff around, it's not hard. PowerPoint is not hard to learn and understand. So you will see when we go through those 3 projects in this class, we're going to be going through all of that. Yes, we are doing animations. Yes, we are doing some animations. At least the animations we're doing are not obnoxious. They're not like obnoxious looking. So we will be good with that. Of course, I'm going to show you some other things in those projects that the book doesn't talk about. Of course, that's my goal with all this, is to show you way more than what the book's going to talk about. So anyway, database management systems. I sort of alluded to this the first week. As opposed to spreadsheets, database management systems are centralized in an organization, meaning everyone's got to log into it. Everybody has different rights to edit certain parts of the database. It's an electronic equivalent of a file cabinet, so we no longer need all those massive amounts of files. We have it electronically. I talked about fields and records. I'm going to talk about fields and records again in a moment. But Microsoft Access, Mac does not have, yes, Mac does not have a database management system program. Do not ask me why. I've wondered this for the last 20 years. I still don't really understand why. They just don't. It just doesn't allow you to have access, Microsoft Access. So students have been asking me this for 20 years. I've researched it, not really sure why. I'm sure somebody will bring that to my attention at some point. Anyway, here's what Microsoft Access looks like. You will notice, okay, I'll give this side of the room. I'll stop ignoring this side of the room. I know I hang out over there a lot, don't I? So anyhow, every single one of these columns is what we call a field. You'll notice we have employee ID, first name, last name, etc. All that data together, all the fields put together, comprises a record, or a person's record. In that case, hey, I'm over here. Hey, over here. Track me. Track me. Yo, hey. Over here. What are you focused on? Okay, all right, that's better. Follow me. Okay, that's good. All right, so all that together is a record. In the first column, you will notice that it's an ID column, and every single one of the IDs is unique. We call that a primary key field. That means every number or words, because we are going to do a project where the primary key are words instead of numbers. But in this case, every employee should have a different ID number. So that's what we call a primary key field. You can also create forms in Microsoft Access. Yes, we're going to do that in this class. We're going to create a form. And believe it or not, we're going to create a form from existing data. So it's going to create the form for us. So we don't have to do anything fancy with it. But you will learn how to create a form in Microsoft Access for data entry. It's not difficult, I promise you. And then we have a bunch of different tables inside of databases that contain a bunch of different fields. Yes, I'm going to be covering this in Chapter 11. I'm going to be going over a lot of this in Chapter 11 when we get there. And of course, we're going to be using Microsoft Access. So I'm not going to bore you to tears anymore with those. Let's get into specialized applications. So specialized applications are more for industry specific. They're more industry specific instead of stuff that applications that all of us use every day. Yes, this includes image editing. I don't edit images every day. I don't know if you do, but I know I don't. So you're going to see some of that here, like graphics programs. And also web authoring or building websites. Not everybody deals with that every day either. But believe me, there are literally tens of thousands, if not more, specialized applications within industries all across the world. A lot of these applications you and I are not going to use. All right, so when we talk about graphics, the 3 different types of programs I'm going to talk about in this next part include desktop publishing programs, image editing programs, and illustration programs. I actually really like Microsoft Publisher. I like Microsoft Publisher because it gives you the freedom to move blocks of text freely around the page. It allows you to move images freely around the page. You simply just drag them anywhere you want. So we call these page layout programs because, well, we're laying out objects on a page. So it allows us, again, to mix different blocks of text, different images, different shapes, but they're used to create brochures. Yes, I've actually used this word, newspapers. I don't know who gets that anymore. Newsletters and textbooks. I don't know who does that anymore either. But anyhow, I'm kidding. For those of you that bought the textbook, much love, I promise. Anyway, popular programs are listed here. I still use Publisher. Publisher is really nice for laying out objects on a page. Image editors. Yes, we're talking Photoshop. Yes, we're talking GIMP. We're talking any app on your phone that allows you to edit images. I'm talking about all of those as well. So, obviously these are for editing or modifying digital photos. Keep in mind that when we zoom in on a letter, for example, you notice how it becomes pixelated. It's all pixelated for the expanded view, and it's all nice and smooth originally. So please note that these photographs consist of thousands or millions of pixels. Let's go there too. They could consist of millions of pixels now that form what we call raster images, also known as bitmap images. And you can use any of these popular image editors to edit those photographs. There's a ton more than that. Illustration programs are different in that these are drawing programs where we actually use shapes that are defined by mathematical equations. So you'll notice that these are not raster images, these are called vector images. Quiz question. So these are vector images that we're editing. You'll notice on the right, you'll notice a whole bunch of what looks like slides that you would put in like an actual projector. You notice how there's different shapes involved. You also notice that you can mix images, other images, into it as well. I've had issues in the past with people that send me images and go, Nick, can you edit this image? And it's in Adobe Illustrator format and not Photoshop. And when you have Photoshop but you don't have Illustrator, that's a problem. Then you've got to figure out how to get Illustrator. But anyway, Adobe Illustrator, CorelDRAW, Inkscape, they're all different illustration programs. I don't know if I really need to go over video editors. I'm just letting you know that yes, you can edit videos on your phone now. You don't have to really have any professional software to do that anymore. You can edit video, you can edit audio, you can edit anything you want on your phone now, pretty much. But that's out there. Let's just go design a video game really quick. No, it's not how that works. But there is software out there that allows you to go through the different types of environments, the different character designs, and there are many different applications out there that allow you to do that. No, you can't do it in a day. I promise it takes a little bit longer than that. I've seen like groups of people try to design a game in a day. You can create a pretty rudimentary game in 24 hours time, but what, you haven't seen a 24-hour hackathon where they have to develop some kind of app, and it's like, trust me, it's like very rudimentary. But it's awesome that teams of people can design that within like 24 hours. It is really cool that people can do that. I've seen some really neat ones. Because yes, we've had those events here in this building for high school students, and they are good. They are good at this stuff. All right, that was the slide I needed to fix. I just need to see how many times I had to click that. All right, so web authoring is the creation of a website. Please keep in mind that yes, some of these applications have a graphical sitemap, which you see on the right-hand side of the screen, showing the home page in relation to all the other pages within the website itself. When we're animating now, we use cascading style sheets, but we can do that using Adobe Animate. It used to be called Adobe Flash, now it's Adobe Animate. And programs or applications like Adobe's Dreamweaver program is what we call a what you see is what you get editor, meaning you can actually develop the site without looking at the code, or you can look at the code without developing the site, or you can do both in a program like that. Again, not really going to go over a lot with mobile applications, but I did update the numbers. So traditionally, there have been more Android applications out there than Apple. Why? I talked about this a couple times before. Why do you think there's more Android applications? I talked about this last week with the web browsing data. How many companies make Apple stuff? One. How many companies make Android stuff?
A lot.
A bunch. So should it surprise you that there's more applications for Android than there is for Apple? It shouldn't surprise you whatsoever at this point. Yes, I'm going to talk about this again. How many manufacturers thing. I'm going to mention this many times. But yes, I did get updated statistics. You'll notice there's 2 million that are currently on the Apple App Store, 2.3 currently on the Google Play Store. Now, these stats do not include whatever is on the Amazon App Store. And just to let you know, the Amazon App Store is Android devices, primarily, that you can install those on. Yes, they're considered to be Android devices. But anyway, I hope you know what apps are. So for the extra credit today, I may as well go ahead and just segue right into that. I have given you 25 categories. You are to go into any app store you want to go into, and I just want to know the name of an application for that category. You cannot do this though. I've had people try this on me. You can't just put Adobe. No, sorry, that's a manufacturer of software that is not the name of the application. So if you're going to mention like Adobe Photoshop, I accept that. But you just can't put Adobe because they make a billion different applications. And you can't just put Microsoft because that's like a real cop-out too. I'm not going to accept that either. So I want the actual name of the application. You just have to find 25 of them. I gave you a couple of curveballs though with the categories because I couldn't just make this completely easy. So I had to throw a few things in there, like backyard landscaping, Android emulators. Yes, I had to throw some things in there. Gantt charts. I think I put that in there too. I might have put Gantt charts in there too. If you don't know what a Gantt chart is, Google it. Here's your chance to go learn about this stuff. I don't know if you're ever going to use one. Oh, cool. USB not recognized. You know what I get to do the rest of the lecture? I get to push the buttons again. So here are the various app stores. If you don't know about them, here they are. Yes, those links actually do work. So Apple's got their app store, Google Play, and the Samsung Galaxy Store, along with the Amazon App Store as well. Again, primarily for Amazon devices, like, what is it, the Fire or the Kindle or any of those where you can install that, yeah. Then, of course, there are software suites. Now, this is interesting because, and I say it's interesting because over time, I'm going to tell you, when I was a student first going to college, we're talking, you're like, good God, that was like before I was born. Yes, that was before you were born. We did not have the ability to have all the Microsoft Office applications all at one time. We actually had to buy them individually. Like you had to go get Word, or you had to go get Excel, and as students, we didn't get like discounts or stuff. We had to like pay the full price for these things, and it was horrible. Or you had to go wait in line at the computer lab to use one of the computers, like wait in line, like you had to it was like at a concert. You were like down the hall. So yeah, so it wasn't really good back then. Now we have the ability to have full suites at our disposal without having to pay a whole lot. And so that's the biggest benefit is when you get a bundle of programs, you get them all for they're less expensive than buying them each individually. And there's a whole bunch up here. No, you're not going to be tested on this. I'm just telling you about this. So Apple's got their iWork suite. There's Microsoft Office. There's Norton Utilities. There's Corel. There's Adobe. There's all kinds of different suites that are out there. But just keep in mind, yes, Google Drive is a suite of applications as well, just to let you know. Speaking of which, so to my knowledge, our accounts here at Phoenix College still have unlimited space. I've seen people that have over 1 terabyte of data stored, yes, 1 terabyte, not a gigabyte, stored on their Google Drive. So, as far as I know, we still have unlimited storage space as students and employees. I have not seen a policy that has changed that. Now, for our home accounts, we usually only get 15 gigabytes. So, yes, Google likes to say, hey, buy more space. Yes, I finally ran out after being a Google user for forever, right? They conned me into buying a 1-year subscription for more space. Thanks, Apple. You know, that's why I left Apple, because they were charging me for storage space. And now I'm paying it now with Google. It's a sad, sad state of affairs. Well, you can't send another email, Mr. Rouse, unless you like delete your 15,000 that you have in your account. I have 18,000 unread messages in my personal account. Just letting you know. I finally hit the 18,000 mark. I was like, yes, it's about time. All right. What, you don't have 18,000 unread messages in your email account? No? Come on. In my work account, I think I'm up to 100. They're just ones that I'll never read, and I just leave it in there. All right. It's probably important, but I don't read every email. If anybody's watching this, I don't read every email. Now, if it comes from one of you, yes, I will read yours. But if it comes from somebody else, I don't care. But if it comes from you, I care. Okay, just letting you know that. All right. You know where you rank, right? You're like here. Then like my coworkers are probably like somewhere here. And then some other people are probably like down here. And then like things that are beyond my control, they're like down there. All right, so anyway, our career in IT. Never seen this many people smile in a class before. Okay, that's great. Oh, that's right. I'm cutting off the slide for people at home. Don't worry, I'll read it to you. So software engineers are today's career in IT. Please note that yes, they need good communication skills. Every job does. I hope you would have programming experience. You're like, where do I pick up programming experience from? Well, you can pick that up in college. You know that, right? So you can pick up programming experience at college. You just don't tell people, well, the only experience came from college. Heck no. You got to tell them, hey, I've been working on this stuff at home. You got to show them what you can do, right? Like a portfolio. You should be detail-oriented. Yes, we're going to talk more about programming in chapter 13. That's our last lecture. And you should always have good analytical skills. And yes, you notice the median salary? That means 50% of the jobs pay more than this, and it's essentially right there at the 50th percentile. So yes, these jobs pay a lot of money.
So sorry. I'm scared about it.
I'm gonna train this. Anybody watching this is probably like, why does he keep talking to the camera? It's my first time using that thing. Wait, I'm over here. All right. So anyway, in looking into the future, we talk about different user interfaces. I know all of us have like different setups on our phones. You know that, right? All of our app organization, we all have different app organization on our phones. There's never going to be one user interface that we're all just going to say, we love that. We're not using anything else. That's never going to happen. I promise that. That's never going to happen, at least not in my lifetime, maybe in yours. But we're seeing a lot more voice recognition, a lot more gesture recognition. What I mean gestures, that means like using, like use your face, you can use your hands, you can use your feet, gestures. We're going to see a lot more of that. And a lot more augmented reality, which I'll talk about in another chapter. All right. People at home, thank you very much for watching. Everybody here, thank you very much for being here. And Thursday, we're going to go over Word, Chapter 3, Guided Project. We'll see you on Thursday.